this thing on. How you doing, you lot? So I've been having a mow. Right, if you want to know why I've been having a mow, just think of the words. We the undersigned. We the undersigned. What's that about, right? So there's this letter come out of nowhere from this weird Twitter account that people have been signing. I'd like to know who wrote it first. I wish this was. It's not that. It's me. Hang on. Right. So I want to know first of all who wrote the letter. So let's get some information. Let's get some more information. Who wrote the letter that said, "We the undersigned"? Because I'd like to know. Because then we've got people that have signed this particular letter, and it has obviously upset people, and I can understand that. I can understand why people are upset about it. But I think, from my perspective, I've been having a mow, because people have been messaging me going, what do you make of this letter? What do you make of this letter? What do you make of this letter? And all I do is respond with mulling, because that's what I've been doing, right? So my mulling took me to all sorts of places, like it always does. You have a mole, you go into the mind wanders. It's all a bit esoteric, mulling, right? A bit esoteric. So I had a mole, and the first thing that came up in my mulling head was, I want to know who wrote the letter. The next thing that came up in my mulling head was the Second World War. Right? Second World, I keep saying right, shut up. The Second World War. You remember that? Stalin. Okay? In the Second World War, which for those of you that don't remember, there was a time when Dame Vera Lynn would sing such classic songs as "Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye, here I go, cheerio, on my way." It was rather fun. No, it wasn't. It was the Second World War, right? I said right again. So the Second World War happened, and during the Second World War, we got in bed with Stalin, right? Who'd killed millions. And we paid the price for it. But we didn't have a choice. We had to do what was strategically best to end the war, not what was tactically best to make people feel comfortable. We got in bed with Stalin, okay? We paid a price for getting in bed with Stalin, because the price we paid for getting in Stalin was that we were not able to include the viciousness and the brutality of the hard left in our education system from that point forward, which is why everybody knows about the Nazis and the Holocaust, and very few people know about the Holodomor. I'd like to know who wrote the letter, wouldn't you? I would. I've seen some tone deaf stuff in my time, but we've got really good people who've signed this, right? Good folks that are part of the scrap. And it's not unusual in a collaboration for people to fall out, for people to think different things, and then for people to make statements about I'm where I am and I'm, because collaborations are far more loose than collectivists. Yep, than collectivism. So when you get collectivism, which is predominantly an activity of the left, not the right, by the way, the right do it, but the left do it on a much grander scale, you have a situation where this kind of letter can get written. Now, they're obviously taking a pop at a certain person, which I think that certain person is posing, and I think it's unfair to do that veiled in a general letter asking if everybody's an anti-racist. So my next question is, when you say anti-racist, do you mean the totalitarian critical social justice ideology, that you're saying that to be an anti-racist, which is what I believe the sort of thing that's mentioned in the letter, is that what you're referring to? As in Ibrahim X. Kendi and that awful woman, what was her name? D'Angelo. Is that what you mean? When you say we are an anti, is that what, so you're saying you're part of the same totalitarian, insane, hard left and liberal thinking system that gave us trans and queer? Is that what you're saying? Because anti-racist is predominantly seen through a trans and queer lens. Ask Black Lives Matter. So I don't know what you mean by anti-racist. I'm anti-racism, but I am absolutely not an anti-racist because I'm not a hard left freak. So can you please clarify that position for me as well, so I know? Secondly, I'm a gay man. Why shouldn't I be frightened of Islamists? Why shouldn't I condemn them? And why shouldn't I want them out of my country? Can you please explain that to me as well? It's not that the letter shouldn't have been written. This is exactly the stuff we want so we can keep the conversation going. It's that what's in the letter is so badly defined. So will you please define for me a number of things? Whoever wrote the letter, when you say anti-racist, do you mean critical social justice? In which case you are no better than the genderists. Is that what you mean? Do you mean anti-racist as in the totalitarian leftist ideology that is going to get us in so much trouble over and above gender? Is that what you mean? Please specify that. If you don't, if you mean people who are against racism, then say so and stop using their language. So please, let me know, is that what you mean? Secondly, do you mean that if there isn't a collectivist get-together over who we should condemn, which is a terribly leftist idea, hard left, then clarify for me, is that what you mean? Can you also clarify for me that when you're talking about racism, you don't think that Islam is a race? Can you clarify that for me? And then can you clarify that you understand that gay men and women and children have every right to be terrified of Islamists, who are to Islam what the Ku Klux Klan is to Christianity? Maybe you'd like to clarify that. And finally, whoever wrote this letter, can you make sure that you let me know that everybody who signed it was fully cognizant of exactly what you coded it with and not just being stupid? I think that's where we start with this conversation. So I'd like some clarification. You've now got what it is I'd like. You have no reason to listen to me, other than you might respect me as a collaborator against critical social justice, the same as I would respect you as a collaborator. Because if you are not collaborating with us against critical social justice, what the hell are you doing? You can't get rid of gender ideology without getting rid of critical race theory. Oh, glasses. Of critical race theory, right? Of queer theory, of extreme environmentalism, of such and such a studies, critical facts that you... Do you not get that? Because if what you're saying is that you're allied with all the rest of it, but not the gender bit, I don't believe you. That's where I'm at. But that's, so whoever wrote the letter, and that's who I'm talking to, please clarify the points I've made. Because the Islamists, wherever they may be, are murderous, right-wing, hard right-wing monsters. And if they're in this country, we find them, we pop them on a plane, and we give them a parachute and drop them over wherever they'd like to be dropped off. That's as simple as that. So please clarify for me, rather than writing overarching letters filled with what appears to be hard left guff. I'm happy to be proved wrong. That's where I'm at. What everybody else thinks about it, I don't know, but it looks to me like some people aren't very happy, and you might want to clarify, because there's some brilliant people have signed this, and I'd really like to know why. All right? I'll see you later. I've had a fantastic time teaching my warrior teachers. I'm so excited for September. I'm now going to go and relax and have peace with the world, and also black pudding, sausages, bacon is my have a nice breakfast day. Ooh, it's like a treat now. When you get old, that becomes a treat, right? Or a glass of wine on a Saturday. That's a treat. I don't like being old. I'll see you later. Bye. Ooh.